Hey everyone, Piano Man Chuck here. So today I have with me the new Studiologic Numa Compact XSE. Now, there's two versions of this out. There is the XSE, which is the one I have, and there's the SE. Now, SE stands for second edition. So this review is going to apply to actually both of those, but the difference between the two of those is the X, which is this model, has the 9 drawbars, faders, and what's to the left of that for control of the organ, for control of the synthesizer. You can make your own waveforms from there, and for sending out MIDI messages for external units. So this is so cool. Now the SE, not the X, is basically the same thing except for the drawbars and that kind of stuff. So you have a lot more control and individuality for the XSE model. Now the difference in price. As of this video, the XSE is $899.99 US. The SE, without the drawbars, faders, all that kind of stuff, is $599.99. Either way, this is a bargain, and let me tell you why. In actuality, compared to everything else that's out there today, to be able to have organ with drawbars, synthesizer with drawbars, all that kind of stuff, in an 88-key professional version, you're talking thousands of dollars. Now, the reason Studiologic has been able to keep the price down is they have basically used the Fatar TP9 in the key action here, which is basically, it's not full-size keys. Full-size keys are 6 inches on the white keys and 4 inches on the black keys. Fatar TP9 is 5.5 inches on the white keys, 3.5 inches on the black. And I thought, wow, that's going to make quite a bit of difference. But it turns out I can actually deal with it. Of course, you're going to have a little bit of problem when you go deep into the key right here. The deeper you go, the more force it's going to require to depress that key. Especially true with the white keys. Not so much on the black keys. I can pretty much play the black keys all the way to the end. But the white keys, a little bit different. But that's okay, because a lot of stuff that I play, I've been able to do it successfully with this. So it's not that big a deal. But if you are a solo pianist, like I am, I have solo piano gigs, I use a different keyboard. But when I'm with a band, when I do play piano and organ and synthesizers and other sampled instruments, this has functioned well beyond my expectations. Now, the reason I'm so excited about this is it's 15.5 pounds. How cool is that? 15.5 pounds. I can say it again. So it doesn't strain my back at all. And to have all these functions available to me in something that's 15.5 pounds, man, that is like a miracle. So you can see why I'm so excited. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty about this. This is the Numa Compact XSE, the second edition, and Numa Compact started with the Numa Compact series, of course, and then they went to the Numa Compact 2, the 2 and the 2X. And the X, of course, had the drawbars and all that. The 2 did not. Now, in this iteration, I would expect it to be called the 3, but for some reason they're calling it the second edition, hence SE. All right, so let's go over the differences, and they have made a numerous amount of improvements here. Very, very impressive. Well worth the asking price of $899.99 US. So the sounds and technology for this is actually derived from the Numa X Piano. And the Numa X Piano is really awesome. I did a review of that. The Numa X Piano GT with the wooden keys and everything is probably one of the best feeling keyboards on the market. But the sounds and everything, it's actually based on that. So you're getting a real deal right there, right off the bat. So let's go over the differences against what's new with the Numa Compact XSE. 200 note polyphony, which is a big improvement because the previous model only had 128 note polyphony. 148 samples, another big improvement. One of the biggest improvements is you have now 4 separate unique sound engines. You have the acoustic sound engine, the electric sound engine, the organ sound engine, and the synth sound engine. These are all separate sound engines. Just earlier this week, they introduced downloadable sounds. Now, let me show you something over here. If you go to the Numa Compact website, here are some of the additional sounds that they offer. You got the Japan Grand. You've got the German Grand, which is a Steinway D model. You've got the Mellotron pack. You've got the Movie pack. And you've got clavinets and Stratocaster and Les Paul guitars, as well as wind package and plectra and harp. And there's a lot more. Here's the factory sounds too. But these sounds are really cool and not like the sounds that came with this for the pianos. I mean, you had the Italian Grand, you had the Studio Grand. It was all really good sounding, but now that they have the downloadable sounds like the German and the Yamaha sounds, oh my God, it makes a big difference. So you have the USA Grand, which is the default. Okay, you press the acoustic piano again, the Italian Grand. Listen to that bass end on that. Really nice. I went ahead and downloaded the German Grand and the Japanese Grand, and I tell you, that is worth the download. If you get one of these, definitely download those, because listen to this. Here's the German Grand. And my favorite is the Japanese Grand. That is so lovely. So with these sounds alone, I could actually do a solo piano gig with that. I just wish that the keys were a little bit more like full-length keys, but they're not. I can work with that, except when you get towards the end of the key, it's a little more force required on the white keys. And since it's a half-inch shorter, that more force required, which is kind of like it is on every piano, comes in sooner. but it's doable. As you can see, it works out perfectly. Now, as far as the downloadable sounds, let's go ahead to the Studiologic website. Okay, here's the additional sounds. You got Japan Grand, German Grand, Mellotron Pack, Movie Pack, Clavinets, Stratocaster and Les Paul, Wind Pack, Plectra and Harp. And there's a lot more, and they will keep updating this. This is almost like the Nord website, where you buy an instrument and it comes with, a bunch of sounds, but they keep adding new sounds that you can download and have available on your instrument. And like the Nord, they have a lot of knobs and buttons that you can use in real time to tailor the sound you want. So basically, for all intents and purposes, this is like a poor man's Nord. $899 for everything you get. That is a bargain. Also on that website, you can check out the specs and everything there is about that. You can get support. You can get a user manual. You can get the MIDI specs, access to knowledge base where you can ask questions, find out what's going on, firmware updates, which I've already done already, and the Numa Manager, which is really cool. Right, the Numa Manager is right here. This is where you download the sounds that you want from the website, then you fire up the Numa Manager, and you can take those sounds and add it to your keyboard from there. And you've got programs, and you can have all these, and individual sounds, and firmware update. Very easy to use. So I found this program, or this application, quite helpful. Now, like I said, the German Grand and the Japanese Grand, which I already downloaded, very cool. Highly recommend that. The first thing you do when you get one of these. But they also have a movie pack, which I also downloaded. That is also really cool. So if we go into, let's see, where did I put that? I think I put that in orchestra. Movie string 1. Movie string 2. Movie brass 1. Brass 2. Also new, you can store up to 120 programs, which is up from the previous version. And you also have new, basically modeling effects here. You can turn the speakers on or off manually, as opposed to, a lot of people, they'll plug in a set of headphones and that shuts off the speakers. Well, maybe you don't want to do that and you want to keep the speakers on. You can do that here. You can set it up for that. But that reminds me, one of the things that I don't like is the volume control over here. Now, it should be used for speakers and all that stuff, but when it comes to line out, it should be a steady signal, no matter how much I increase or decrease. Because if you're in the middle of a recording and you increase or decrease, that throws everything off. You want to keep it steady. That's the way line outs should work, but they didn't do that. But you can work around that, so that's one thing you should be aware of. And as far as pedals, this is really cool, because if you have a pedal that's normally open or normally closed and it doesn't work, let's say you play it normally and then you depress it and you get the opposite effect, you can actually reverse that here and change the polarity so it does work properly. And when it's not depressed, that's the way it should work. And then you have the volume for fast and slow percussion, of course, for organ. All right, that was global edit that I was using. And if I just press it lightly, I don't have global. I have what's available to me on the screen. Now I've got parts A and B. So I can have two different sounds, and they're calling it upper and lower, or A and B, or sound 1 and 1, 2. So basically for each one, I can control the volume. That way I can balance out. Maybe I don't want so much bass on the left or the bottom, and I want more piano on the right. This is where I can do that. I can set that right here. And a split assignments, where you have a split point, rather than just the left is always, or the lower is on the left and the upper is on the right, I can switch those here by using this function here. Transpose, again, not a global transpose. I mean, you can do that, but it's a transpose where you can only transpose whichever sound you have chosen. So if you have sound A and B, you can transpose A and not B, or B and not A. Very cool. A lot of keyboards lack that. Octave, you can shift the octave for A or B, which is really cool. Fine tune, again, for A and B. And the amount of reverb send you want for A and B, also really cool. And for the pedals, maybe you want a sustain pedal for the piano, which is on A, but you don't want it for another instrument like an accordion or something like that that's on B. So this is where you set that. You want it for only A, but not B. And the same goes for these sticks, which is the equivalent of a mod wheel or modulation wheel. You can set it so the stick only works with A or B, or both. So that's another cool thing. And since the TP9 also has Aftertouch, you can also set this so that you can use Aftertouch for A or B or both. That's a really cool thing because too many keyboards have it so it's global. This one, you can narrow it down to whichever sound you are currently playing, whether it's going to be A or B or both. And they have so many other settings for that, for A or B or both, that it's just too numerous to get into, but you will appreciate that when you actually start experimenting around with that. That is just so cool. So basically what I covered that the Numa Compact X, SE, and the SE has that the previous versions didn't is you have duplex resonance, damper noise, hammer noise, and for the electric pianos, you've got the tine volume and the damper noise. Now you also have new tine sounds and FM modulations, and Portamento is really cool. You got 3 pre-programmed Portamento effects and 1 that you can program yourself. So basically, you can have Portamento off, and then you have Portamento fast. It's where it glides from one key that you press to the next. You can have it a little bit slower. Even slower. And then a programmable one, which, if you don't program it, it's the slowest yet. Yeah, I think Emerson, Lake and Palmer was using that on Lucky Man. Very cool. So it's not just single notes, it's poly. Check this out. love that. And listen to the different speeds. Almost reminds me of when you were watching these movies and the THX sound came on. You heard something like this. Oh, I love that. But you can do stuff like that on this keyboard. How cool is that? Also, now you have mono and poly. So poly means many. Mono means one. So listen to this. We have mono, whatever you play, whatever you follow it with, it goes to that note. It does not hold down the previous notes that you were playing. So one note at a time. And when you go to poly mode, it holds all the notes that you were playing. So you could actually even do chords with that. And you also have legato, long, and staccato, short. And again, like I was saying, much of the improvements are based on the Studiologic top-of-the-line model Numa X Piano. So you are getting that kind of stuff right here in a very affordable unit that's 15.5 pounds. Oh, I can't stress that enough. That is so cool. Now, while this does run on AC power and they give you an adapter to plug into your AC wall unit, it also has 10-watt speakers on each side for a total of 20. I'm not that impressed with the speakers. If you're going to go more than half volume on the speakers, it's going to distort. So this is going to be just for like practice, or if you're, with a band and you're just about to go on, you want to rehearse something real quick, that would be the way to do it. But the speakers, not that impressed with it. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because if you don't need the speakers, if you don't want the speakers and you don't have an AC power source, you can hook this up with an USB cable connected to your laptop. That will power the unit, that will give you everything you need, but it will not power the amplifier, so you don't have speakers. I thought that was pretty cool. So, one day you could go outside, be out communing in nature or in your backyard, whatever. You've got your laptop computer, you've got this, you don't have AC power, you just hook it into your laptop and you are good to go. You're going to need some headphones though, or you can use your laptop or whatever. Now, the USB also communicates audio. So that's another cool thing a lot of these keyboards do not. Now, the big restriction on this is, like I've been calling this a poor man's Nord, but the new Nord Stage 4, you can layer 7 sounds. You can actually get to more, but 7 is what you can do. Here, it's only 2. You don't have 3 or 4 like you do on some of the less expensive 88 key models that don't even offer organ or synth, but basically 2 sounds. That's it. So those 2 sounds you can either use to layer, so you have a layer. You can use it to split the keyboard, so you can do something like bass on the left hand and piano on the right. Or you can set this up for you're playing one sound in a band and you want to turn on the other sound for the next song, but not the first one. So you have A and B. Basically, you choose your sounds. You can choose A, and B. Oh, I didn't want that. Let's go piano. And on A, let's go bass. So basically, whatever sounds you choose, you've got an A and B. Now, you can have A on by itself. You can have the B sound on by itself, or you can have both. And the way these are lit up indicates which sounds you have on. If A is lit up, you have the A sound on. If B is lit up, you have the B sound on. If you have both lit up, you've got both and you got a layer. Or you can press the split key, and you've got A on the lower and B on the upper. And as I showed you earlier, you can go to a menu and switch that so A is on the right and B is on the left. There is so much versatility to this. This is unbelievable for a keyboard in this price range. And like I said, the actual sounds themselves, being modeled after the Numa X Piano, actually warrant comparison to the Nord Stage 4. The sounds are that good. Not quite Nord quality, but very, 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 very close. So the sounds alone, despite everything else here, is really cool. Now, another thing, people are complaining about the very, very small display screen here. Actually, it's so small, I can take a dime, 2 dimes actually, and I've covered up the entire screen. The cool part about that is this tiny little screen conveys so much information that you're going to forget that it's that small. You go to the organ section, check this out. You start messing with the drawbars, and you've got a graphic display here. Lot of information conveyed here. And when you go to the actual synth section, and you start moving these drawbars around, you can actually see how you are shaping the wave right there. I mean, there's so much here, you could actually do a whole video dedicated just to the synth section right here. Now, even when you're an acoustic piano or whatever other instrument you're in, you can use the cutoff and resonance here to further shape your sound. And it doesn't matter if you're in the piano or electric piano. Keys. Now, I've got a sustain pedal hooked up here. I don't have an expression pedal hooked up, but if I did, you can see where I can take a use of that and actually shape the sound further for a wah effect or a wow or crybaby effect. Yeah, let's go to the guitar. So, these two orange faders here can be used to further define what your sound is going to be like, no matter which sound you've picked. Now, when we get to effects, you'll see there's effects A and effects B. Basically, each sound you have, you can choose an effect from A and an effect from B. That's 2 effects right there. You go to the next sound, whether you're on A or B, the next sound, another 2 that you can choose that are unique to that sound. So effects A and B, that's 4 effects, plus the reverb and basically the tone or EQ. That's 6 sounds that you can use for 2 instruments that are selected. 6 different effects. That's really cool. So basically, this has been a narrative on what the difference is from the previous version, the Numa Compact 2X. This is the Numa Compact X SE. And again, this also applies to the Numa Compact SE, which would basically be the successor to the Numa Compact 2. There is so much here. And again, my primary reason for considering this, and as you know, I've had some of the best keyboards around, and I've been lucky like that. I've been able to pick and choose whatever keyboard I want. But if I'm going to be jamming with a band live performance, and I want to save my back, I don't really want to go schlepping around all kinds of heavy keyboards. Even 30 pounds is going to be heavy for me these days. As you get older, the keyboards seem to weigh more, even though it's the same keyboard you've used for the past few years. It seems 10 pounds heavier now. 15 and a half pounds is a godsend. And to have everything that this has in that keyboard for 15 and a half pounds, not only 15 and a half pounds, under $1,000, $899.99 US, to have all that stuff. If you don't need the levers and drawbars for the organ, synth, and MIDI control messages, it's $599. But the capability to have all that with the drawbars, I mean, that just blows me away. For that price, this is a godsend. And I will actually be ordering one of these for my gigs, and this is going to let me sell some of my other equipment off because I am just so impressed with this. And I hope you've learned a lot from this video. And one other thing, to get a decent price on this, check the description below. Piano Man Chuck, peace out. Thanks for watching.